Hello and welcome to this week's broadcast. If you're listening to the podcast, a big shout out for being a podcast listener. I hope you have subscribed. If you're watching this on YouTube, once again, don't forget to subscribe using the button below. If you're enjoying this content, if you want to hear more of what I have to offer and share with you. So welcome to tonight. Today, I want to talk to you about investing in yourself, because I don't think that you are investing nearly as much in yourself as you could be, as you should be, and in a way that it's going to hugely increase your value, how valued you feel, but also how valued you can be to the outside world. Now, what brought this topic to mind for me is that over the weekend, the long weekend, which we've just had here in the UK, I decided to invest like quite a huge chunk of money into my business. So I invested it into a program to help me to take my business to the next level, to take me to the next level. I've been really excited by the results I've been creating this year, the successes that I've been enjoying. And I recognize that so much of the growth I've had over the last 3, 6, 9 months has come as a result of time, money, investments I have made in myself and in my business. So I really want to share with you what I've discovered, what's come to mind for me, so that you can have this thought front of mind and ask yourself, are you investing in yourself enough? And if not, to give you some ideas, some suggestions as to areas in which you can start doing so. So I've made this huge investment. I'm not going to tell you how much I've invested because it will literally make your eyes water. It made my eyes water. But what I was so surprised about was how willing and excited I felt to do that, to hand over money and entrust somebody with giving me the return of how much I'm going to learn, how much I'm going to grow the business. But I did. I felt so excited about it. And that's because I have seen how making an upfront investment produces results 5 times, 10 times, 15 times what that initial investment was. And so I know that it's worth it. Now, 2 reasons why I guess this investment piece is so important, what I want you to realize. First of all, it's about feeling valued. Now, I've talked a lot about that in the last 2 episodes, and how I hear from a lot of you, I want to feel more valued, or my boss doesn't value me, or I'm not valued in my work, right? And your responsibility, before you can expect other people to value you, is to value yourself. And so investing in yourself is a sheer sign that you value yourself. You see yourself as somebody who is worth investing in. If you think of, I don't know, people who invest in property, for example, they would choose the property they invest in on the basis of the value, because they consider that property valuable. Same with you, right? You choosing to invest in yourself is a sign, it's recognition by you that you see yourself as valuable. And this feeds the feeling of being valuable by the very fact that you invest in yourself. So the second really important benefit and reason for investing in yourself is that not only do you get this increase in how valued you feel, but you also do become more valuable. So, for example, if you are investing in yourself in terms of your education, we do that with our kids sometimes, we invest in their education, then the idea is that they will get what they get in return will make them more valuable. What we get in return, if we invest in ourselves in the right way, will make us more valuable. A perfect example of that is if you invest in learning something new, you invest in a course, right? The idea is at the end of that, you'll have a qualification, you'll have a skill that therefore makes you more valuable, maybe more employable, and certainly you will see that returned in how much your employer values you. So you feel more valued, it increases your value. And there's actually a third point that's just come to me about the kind of results that you will get when you've invested in yourself. There's a really interesting difference between if somebody else pays for you to do something and if you pay to do it yourself. What happens? If you've invested your own hard-earned money into something, guess what? The way you show up after that, or as a result of that, is going to be so much better and bigger than if somebody else paid for it for you. A classic example is I work with a lot of coaches. A lot of them are clients that come to me through their firm, their law firm, or the organization that actually pays for them to be coached by me, for example. And then I have lots of clients who come to me privately and they pay to be coached out of their own money. And honestly, not always, but I regularly see quite a big difference in the commitment between someone who's paid them their own money to pay for the coaching and someone who has someone else to pay for them. And why is that? Well, the person who's paid, they're invested in it, right? They've got something at stake. They've given up something ahead of time in the hope of getting a better return. Recognizing that to get that return, they need to put the effort in and do the work. They're so much more prepared to do so because it's their money that they've used to pay for the coaching. Contrast that with some of my corporate clients who can be a bit laid back about the coaching, can be a bit take it or leave it. And so the results that they get aren't going to be nearly as good. So 3 things then I've summarized being key benefits for investing in yourself. You're going to feel more valued, you're going to increase your value, and you're going to show up in a way that produces better results for you. And the mistake then that I see so many people making is feeling that they're not either worthy or it's extravagant to invest in themselves. It's self-indulgent to invest in themselves. Now, if you're someone who thinks this, I want to tell you the opposite is true. You absolutely must invest in yourself, not only to feel valued and feel valuable, but because of then you're in such a much stronger position to give, right? To give to others, to show up for others. I know, for example, that if I invest in my building my skills, getting better and better at coaching, getting better at speaking, at delivering these, whatever investment I make that's going to increase my skill set, for example, is going to help me be a better coach to you. It's going to help me deliver better value to you. So while it seems like a selfish, indulgent act to invest in yourself, it's actually the opposite. It's about giving you all the support you need so you can show up as the best that you are. So what then do we invest in? What is it that I'm asking you to consider, like putting up? I guess the investment, the idea of it is like you're putting something in up front in the hope of getting a bigger return. So what do I want you to invest in, to put up front in order to get these returns? I thought the best way to describe this is to give you some examples of all of the things that just as they've come to my mind, that I invest in myself and have done over the few years. So I'm just going to run through, in no particular order, the investments I make and the return that I get on that investment, in the hope that it's going to inspire you to go out there and start making those investments in yourself as well. Number 1, I invest in a personal trainer. In fact, I was out today. Her name is Holly Aldridge. Big shout out to you, Holly. I've been investing in a personal trainer for about 5 years now. And obviously it costs me a certain amount of money each month, right? And each session. But I hand over regular amounts of money. And what do I get back? I get accountability. I get somebody who creates a training schedule for me. I get someone who's checking always that I'm using the right technique, that I'm keeping up the progress, keeping up the momentum. I've got someone who I can talk to about, I don't know, if I've had an injury or if I want to work on a particular part of my fitness. And what I've got over time, the compound effect of having made that investment and continuing to make that investment regularly in a personal trainer, is I am a fit, strong, healthy person. I do have my odd moments of like pulling a hamstring and stuff, but I stay in shape. I have lots of energy. I look and feel decent in my clothes. And that's a reward that I get every single day because I'm prepared to make that investment in a personal trainer, for example. And I recognize that they can do more for me than I can do by myself. The second thing that I invest in is clothes. Now, I'm not someone who buys lots and lots of clothes. Actually, my wardrobe's fairly thin. However, the clothes I do buy tend to be quite big investments. If you're watching this on video, on YouTube or on Facebook, so I'm wearing my red dress, my signature red dress. It's the dress that I'm wearing on the front cover of the book, Be the First. Can't quite see it very well, but there you go. You've got a better view of it there. So the thing about this dress, it's a Victoria Beckham dress, and I absolutely love it. Fits me really well. It cost an absolute fortune. Now, I enjoy investing in my clothes. So I have lots of dresses and I pay a lot of money for my dresses. So typically I have Victoria Beckham dresses and I have quite a few Roland Mouret dresses. I don't buy them very often, but I do when I go out to make a purchase. I make an investment purchase. What's my return on that? How is that an investment, I hear you ask? Here's what I want to tell you. Every time I put on this dress, I feel like myself. I feel valuable. I feel confident. And I know that I look good in the sense that it fits really well. It's beautiful quality, beautiful shape. I feel fantastic. Yeah. And it's a dress that I know will last and that I get to wear over and over again. I love talking about when I've made an investment in a dress, like I need to get in the kind of number of wears so that I can reduce the cost per wear. But it's incredible. I have dresses in my wardrobe that are 15 years old. Now, I know that sounds a bit dodgy. They're not out of fashion. They're just classic dresses, classic shapes. But because I've invested in them, they last really well. They still look incredible. They feel amazing. I feel $1 million in them. So the upfront investment of cash is repaid back to me like 10, 15, 20-fold by what I get by way of feeling confident, of knowing that I look smart, well turned out, and of like the quality and the longevity of the item. So clothes is one of them. Another thing I invest in is business development. In other words, growing my business. And that's the big investment that I was talking about at the beginning, making my eyes water, that I've made over the weekend. I invest in learning how to be better and better at building a business, growing the business, winning more clients and serving my clients better and better. And the reason why I'm so excited and confident about doing that is because I've seen how my investments in the past have produced great results. And what's really important is that you recognize the need to keep investing over time in order to keep growing. So what is it that my investment has brought me in terms of business development? Well, it's brought me structure. It's brought me processes that I need to put in place. It's brought me discipline and accountability. Buying me a community who are going to help me accountable, but also to support me. It's buying me know-how. It's buying me focus. Now, I know that when I put all of those things together and I do the work surrounding those, it's going to produce a better business. It's going to help me scale my business even more, attract more clients, and increase my revenue. I'm 100% confident about that. So what feels like a big investment up front, I know is going to produce more and more results. It's going to compound over time. The fourth thing that I invest in, similar to professional development, similar to business development, which I just talked about, is professional development. This is the skills bit, the growth. I am asked all the time, like, how did I learn to become such a confident speaker? Don't get me wrong, I still have my imposter syndrome, still have to solve my imposter syndrome before I stand on stage or do a talk. But I've acquired so much experience and knowledge and skills of how to speak in front of an audience because I have invested in learning how to do that. Here's how. I mean, any number of ways, and practice is a key part of it, but specifically ways in which I've spent money to improve that skill is I worked with a speaker coach. His name is Alan Stevens. He's excellent. I also worked with another speaker coach called Jeremy Nicholas. So two really accomplished, experienced speakers over the years who I have worked with to fine tune this craft, to improve my skills, to glean from their experience, their expertise. And I go back to those experts whenever I feel that I need to level up my skills or whenever there's a challenge that I face. So investing money in improving my skills is something that's very important to me and important to my business. And I want to just point that out because if you work for an organization, often they will put on the lunchtime seminars or you'll have trainings, and it's really easy, isn't it, to take those things for granted when your firm is paying for them. Maybe how you show up to those may be kind of indifferent, maybe not as committed to getting the results as you might otherwise have been. So if you are someone who works in an organization where the firm puts everything on for you or the company does everything for you by way of training, I still want you to consider investing in up-leveling your skills yourself personally, paying your own money and seeing the difference it makes to the kind of commitment that you're going to show and the results, therefore, that you're going to produce. Okay, that's 4 things I invest in. Number 5, here's one for you: relationships. I invest in my relationships. Super important for us. And you know, if there's one thing that I'm learning more and more of as I get older and more experience, it's like how easy it is to just let relationships just kind of sit there, maybe to take some for granted, to neglect some. So now I make a really conscious effort now to invest in my relationships. And this has many forms. It might be in the form of trying to make sure I remember birthdays, remember special occasions. Still working on that. There's still some of you out there who I know and love, and I forget your birthday. I'm working on it. But I feel it's so important that I invest the time, the effort, and sometimes the money if I'm buying a present in really upholding those relationships. Time is probably the key thing, though, for relationships, much more so than money. It's like making the effort to see those you love, to reach out to them, to stay connected. Really important investment. And on that point, actually, just thinking about social media and how much time we invest typically in being on social media and the illusion that creates of investing in relationships, when actually, is that the right investment? Is that an investment that creates a valuable return? Do you feel more valued as a result of time spent on social media? Do you feel that's an investment in your relationships and that you're getting that return, that sense of being more connected to those you love? That's a really important question I want to throw out for you about relationships. What else? Coaching. That's an investment in my personal development. So I talked about business development, as in growing my business, getting more clients. If you're in a law firm, for example, it might be getting more clients. If you're in an organization, winning more clients, whatever it is, that's the business development. The professional development is the skills. Now I'm talking about the personal development, which in a nutshell means what's going on in my brain. It means my mental health, my well-being, my mental well-being. So investing in coaching it serves 2 purposes for me. Obviously, there's the skill set of being a coach that comes under the professional development piece, my skills. But importantly for me, it's about how I go through the world, how I see the world, how I show up in the world as me, how I set goals for myself, how I deal with failures and with setback or with negative feedback, how I show up for my family, how I motivate myself to do the hard things that I know I need to do in order to get the rewards, whether that's doing the exercise or whether it's doing the hard work. And it's how I overcome the voice in my brain that might sometimes say, the imposter syndrome that comes up for me, the feelings of woe I might have in my brain, or times when I feel down. The coaching, so much of the coaching is, in addition to helping me in my business and in my work, it's also about helping me to be mentally very healthy, to know when I'm spiraling in thought drama, for example, which is something I've talked about on the podcast, and to help me have perspective and to help me find my power, for example, in a situation where I might feel otherwise helpless. So an investment in coaching, and obviously I'm biased, but I'm also a living, breathing example of this. It's one of the best ways I've invested in myself ever. The Seventh example is my appearance, right? So not dissimilar to the clothes, but I wanted to touch on this. Now I'm just looking in the camera here. My hair doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it looks all right. I've been giving presentations today, so I did spend quite a bit of time on it this morning. But I invest time in going to the hairdressers, in going and getting my nails done. Not that I have done them since lockdown yet. I'm still working up to that. But I invest in how I look. And that takes two forms. The money I pay, okay, I hand over to my very expensive hairdressers. The money I hand over to make sure I'm groomed, right, for the people who help me stay groomed, but also the time. That's a time investment. Sometimes I'd rather not have to spend the time that I do in the hairdressers. But I know that what I'm going to get out of that investment, the return I'm going to get, I'm going to feel so much better when I look in the mirror and I see myself. I feel valued. How I show up when I show up to the world, I feel like I'm showing up as my best self. That is such a boost to my confidence. It makes such a difference. And it feels so great that to invest that money in myself. It feels like money well spent, because every day I'm feeling the value of that. When I walk past the mirror, I'm not looking in the mirror telling myself I look amazing every day, but I am looking in the mirror and noticing that I'm showing up as well as I hope to, as I want to, and really seeing the value of how I'm showing up. And I do think my clients really recognize that. Other people do see that. I get that kind of, I can't believe you're the mum of 4 boys, for example. And it's always interesting when people say that, because I think, well, what's a mum of 4 boys supposed to look like? And there can be that expectation, can't there? And we do see that around people who look really drawn, who don't take care of themselves, and you can tell, don't feel their own value so much in terms of what they project. And I'm the opposite of that. And it's really important to me to be the opposite of that, because it reflects how I want to feel. And then in that reflection, it's mirrored back to me so that I do feel that. I do feel valued. I do feel energized. I do feel like I was going to say in control then. I'm not under the illusion I'm always in control. But I do feel I'm showing up to life and grabbing life by the horns and getting the most out of it. So I hope you found that really useful, interesting, helpful, food for thought on investing in yourself, how important it is, and the advantages and benefits. Now I'm just looking at my slides here to check there aren't any comments coming up. No, I can't see any comments. I haven't ignored anyone who's in there. But yes, so I hope you found that super useful. I hope you appreciate the benefits of investing in yourself, and that this broadcast, this podcast, this video will inspire you to go out, spend some money, spend some time on yourself, on something that is going to give you that incredible return. Thank you so much. I'm Caroline Flanagan, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.